Hello, my name is Dana Rogerson, and welcome to the final part of Rooted Rebirth. We've traveled through the emotional waters of Cancer. We've stood at the mirror of belief under the Capricorn full moon and touched the quiet inner architecture of the life we're now ready to build. This final chapter aligns with the last quarter moon, a phase of release, integration, and embodied choice. It's the moment where the story no longer lives in theory. It begins to live in you. This is where we practice. This is where we walk it. If the new moon asked, what do you need to feel safe inside yourself? And the full moon asked, what beliefs are shaping your reality? Then this moment asks, can you live it? Especially when life gets loud again? Because transformation isn't only in the inside. It's in the nervous system, in the breath. It's in the micro choices. So we arrive now at the waning moon. Illumination has happened, the light is decreasing, and our task becomes one of integration. The last quarter moon is a pivotal moment in the lunar cycle, occurring roughly 1 week after the full moon and 1 week before the new moon. Astrologically, it marks a time of integration, reflection, and release. This phase invites us to evaluate what has unfolded since the new moon, sift through the insights and experiences gained, and identify what no longer serves our growth. It's a waning phase, symbolically representing the need to let go of outdated beliefs, unfinished stories, or lingering fears, so that we can make space for the next cycle to begin with clarity and intention. Practically, this is a time to slow down, turn inward, and make conscious choices rooted in wisdom rather than impulse. It's actually less about doing and more about refining. An approach with self-compassion and honesty, the last quarter moon becomes a powerful opportunity to align action with truth and close one chapter with intention before the next one begins. And depending on your own chart, this moon may fall in a house that reveals where your next layer of commitment lies. The final square in the lunar cycle always brings challenge, not to punish, but to consolidate. It's a spiritual friction that helps us commit. And this last quarter moon in Aries arrives like a final ember, still glowing from the fire we lit at the beginning of this lunar cycle. It's not a time to initiate something new, but to complete something true. Aries, the first spark of the zodiac, usually wants to leap forward. But in this final phase of the moon cycle, its energy, it's tempered. Now it asks, what have you learned? What are you still holding on to that's outdated, untrue, or inauthentic? And most importantly, what are you ready to commit to with courage, not just desire? Over this lunar month, we journeyed through the Cancerian themes of safety, emotion, and inner anchoring. We asked, where do I come from? And what do I need in order to feel safe? Now, with the moon in Aries squaring the Cancer sun, the question shifts. How do I carry what I've learned into right action? This is emotional maturity. This is the integration of heart and will. So if you've been on the fence about a decision, a boundary, a version of yourself that longs to come through, this is your moment of clarity. This is when you commit not just to an outcome, but to a frequency, to living aligned with your truth, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. So let Aries remind you that true courage isn't the absence of fear, but movement in spite of it. And let the waning light of the moon show you what you're ready to leave behind. Because next week, we begin again with a bold, heart-led new moon in Leo. And what we choose to release now becomes the sacred soil for our next becoming. So breathe, reflect, let go, and step forward. This is the quiet fire of commitment. In psychological terms, this is the phase where the nervous system repatterns. If we were rewiring a belief in earlier phases, this is where the body gets the chance to practice new neural pathways. From a neurobiological perspective, when we begin to rewire a belief, whether it's around worthiness, safety, or identity, it doesn't fully take root just because we had an insight. Insight is cognitive. Change, however, must be felt and enacted in the body. During the waning moon, especially the last quarter, the energy turns inward. It slows the pace down, mirroring the slower processing speed of the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the realm of rest, of reflection, of restoration. It's where the nervous system has the space to practice the new neural pathways. It's in this phase that we test out the rewired belief in and through micro behaviors. Can I say no without guilt? Can I feel my emotions without shutting down? Can I stay in integrity, even if it feels unfamiliar? And these are not dramatic breakthroughs. They're subtle, somatic proofs that something new is possible. The nervous system learns through repetition and safety. So this lunar phase offers a crucial window to ground new ways of being. It's not just about what you believe. It's about who you are becoming when that belief gets practiced through your breath, through your choices, and through your whole embodied presence. From a shamanic perspective, this is the test before the return. This is when the ritual is over, you've seen the vision, but can you live it now in the vow? And from this shamanic perspective, the last quarter moon is a sacred threshold, often referred to as the test before the return. In many indigenous traditions, this mirrors the final phase of a rite of passage. It's the reintegration. It is after the vision quest, after the symbolic death and rebirth, when the initiate must now return to the village, not just with a new insight, but with embodied truth. The ceremonial space has closed, the fires have dimmed, and now the question arises, can you live the vow you made in the dream time of the transformation? In mythological terms, this is the moment when the hero, having descended into the underworld, the new moon, gain awareness and challenge the full moon, must now bring that back to the world. Joseph Campbell called this the return with the elixir. But many never make this return. Why? Because this part requires integration. It's the most difficult and the least glamorous part of the journey. It asks us not to just to know, but to embody. In shamanic terms, this is where we find out if the soul revival was complete, if the fragmented parts we call home are truly being welcomed into a new whole identity. And historically, many indigenous rites of passage structured this moment intentionally. Among the Kogi people of Colombia, initiates are kept in caves for extended periods, sometimes years, learning the spiritual laws of nature. And when they emerge, they are reintroduced into society slowly, tasked with living out their training through action. In the Eleusinian mysteries of ancient Greece, the final phase was epopteia, which means to behold, not just to witness the mystery, but to become it. This was not a teaching to memorize, but a state of being to inhabit. So the last quarter moon from this perspective is the post-vision embodiment. The ancestors have spoken, the spirits have shown you the path. Now comes the sacred responsibility to walk it. No more altered states, no more initiatory fire, just ordinary life, the greatest test of all. And so the last quarter moon becomes a crucible of integrity. Will you choose what is easy or what is true? Will you uphold your own sacred contract, even when no one is watching? It is in this liminal pause between the vision and the next seed that we remember. True transformation is not found in the vision itself, but in living it. And only those willing to walk the edge become the keepers of that wisdom. So insight opens the door, and action walks you through it. And as we reach this last quarter moon in Aries, the energy invites us not just to reflect, but to act with alignment. This is not about efforting, it's about integration. It's about living your vow in the everyday moments that test your truth. So in order to anchor this phase, I'll give you 4 simple and very potent tools for embodiment. The first one is micro commitments. What's one thing I can do today that supports the version of me I'm becoming? So think small, but meaningful. And a micro commitment might be saying no to something that drains you, taking one conscious breath before replying to a message, noticing how your body feels around certain people and choosing differently. These micro decisions are not about perfection. They're about repetition. They help build the neural and behavioral trust that your nervous system craves in this phase. So try this. For example, every morning, ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today to honor my inner truth? Write it down, then live it. remember it through the day. The second tool is your future self journaling. And the question here is, what does my integrated self know that I've just begun to remember? This journaling practice is not about rehashing the past. It's about giving voice to the version of you that already lives in the vow. Write as if you're already there, and use prompts like, today I showed up for myself by ... What feels clear and grounded for me now is ... I no longer choose ... And let this voice guide your decisions. And over time, this becomes less aspirational and more embodied, because your body actually begins to believe it. The third tool is a somatic anchor. Your body remembers safety, so give it a doorway back. Choose a simple, repeatable physical gesture or breath that you associate with grounding, safety, and clarity. This could be just placing one hand on your heart, one on your belly, and breathing. It could be a specific breath pattern. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4 again before the process starts again. Or it could be a mantra whispered while touching your solar plexus. And this becomes your energetic reset button. When you're triggered or off center, you return to your anchor. And this, at a subconscious level, signals to your nervous system, we're safe, we're clear, we're still choosing alignment. So practice it daily, even when you don't need it, because it creates a somatic shortcut back to truth. And the last practice I'll give you is a fire release ritual, because integration sometimes requires incineration. So this is a very simple, powerful ritual to clear space for your commitment. And all you do is you write down the belief, habits, or patterns that you're ready to release. You speak them aloud, thank them for everything that they've taught you up to now, and then safely burn the paper. Then next, and most importantly, you speak a new vow. And this doesn't have to be dramatic or big. It just has to be true. For example, it could be, I release the belief that I must prove myself to be loved. I vow to honor the wisdom of my body and speak from my truth, whatever that truth may be in any particular moment. This is the fire of transformation, the vow that seals. This is your metaphorical line in the sand. So remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be practicing. These tools are not tasks. They are doorways back to your aligned self. So as this lunar cycle closes, even though a little bit late on my part due to summer holidays, ask yourself not just what you know, but what are you ready to live? Because this part is not about insight. It's about embodiment. So go, choose your vow and walk it. And remember that this final phase is not about perfection. It's about rhythm. So you will wobble, you will forget, but you can always return to this spiral, to this rhythm of growth and transformation. Your emotional safety is a landscape. Your beliefs are the compass. And your embodiment, well, that is the journey that we're all on. So thank you for walking this spiral with me. If you found resonance in these 4 parts, I invite you to revisit them cyclically, because just as the moon renews, so do we. And if this series stirs something within you, if it offered clarity, opened new pathways, or simply reminded you that you're not alone on this journey, I invite you to stay connected. Subscribe here to receive future insights, tools, and practices straight to your inbox. And you can also download my free inner child healing tool at inchargewellbeing.com in the free resources, which is a gentle practice to support you in returning to safety and wholeness from within. And if you're ready to go deeper, or simply want to walk alongside others on this path through embodiment, truth, and soul-aligned living, follow along for what's coming next. This is just the beginning, and your presence is a vital path of this unfolding. Thank you for being here. Blessings.